For most people, one PBR World Championship would be the highlight of a career, and two would make you among the best of all time. But Chris Shivers is not most people. After an injury-marred and downright disappointing 2004, Shivers returned with a newfound dedication to the sport. It would be a season filled with the excitement of a man on the precipice of history, yet always teetering on the edge of disaster. This is Total Bull 2005, the story of Chris Shivers. He must ride this bull or the finals are done for Chris Shivers. A little bit back on his road. Does he get to it? I heard the buzzer. I don't know. Is this over for Chris Shivers? They're giving him a 0. They say that Chris Shivers has bucked off. This season is over. Chris Shivers alone backstage in Columbus with his thoughts and the likelihood that there will be no PBR finals for the reigning champion. Hi everybody, welcome to Las Vegas, the home of the PBR Finals. I'm Brett Haber. For Chris Shivers, 2004 was a year to forget. For the first time in his career, he failed to qualify for the PBR World Finals, and that meant beginning in 2005, he was a man on a mission. Rededicated to his craft, he was hell-bent on winning an unprecedented third PBR championship, something he said was not a matter of if, but when. We welcome you to Total Bull 2005, the story of Chris Shivers. For Chris, the 2005 season got off to a slow start. A series of average scores and uncharacteristic buck-offs marked the first few events. But the pace quickened in Tampa, always one of Chris's favorite events.
Here comes Shivers out of the chute on Bad Boy Toy. He whips around hard to his hand, right into his hand down the left. Look at Shivers keep his poise. The balance with the free hand. Chris Shivers on that ride of Bad Boy Toys.
You know, I want to point out something here that Chris Shivers does perfectly. When bulls spin into his hand, you see a lot of guys, as the bull kicks, their arm comes way back behind them, and they try to take it behind their head and move their body all backwards in the direction that the bull's going. Watch how Chris keeps his free arm going around in front of himself, keeps moving forward with the bull, staying in control, staying up front. That's what makes Chris Shivers so great, or part of the reason that does.
And Chris Shivers has just moved in to first place.
When we come back on Total Bull, Chris has some of his best moments of the season, including an historic ride on Night Moves.
The third world title was probably the most important thing as far as my career goes. You know, I've been here for quite some time now, and injuries have played a big part in my standings for the last few years. But you know, there's everybody's hurt. Everybody has sore bones and wake up wanting the same thing I do. It's the guy that wants it the most.
Welcome back to Total Bull on OLN. We are taking a look back at the 2005 season of Chris Shivers. After the win in Tampa, Chris proved that he was still one of the best. The season was only beginning. We continue our look back at Greensboro, North Carolina.
Here's a great bull, a new bull that we've seen this year, and he's been very impressive.
All right, Chris Shivers, round to round. Yeah. He's staying right with it. To the right, away from the hand.
Wow.
Chris Shivers right in that seat. He got it, Jerome.
Oh, man, that was a good bull ride.
Oh, this is going to be big.
Man, I tell you what, that bull right there is not easy to ride. You know, they don't ride this bull very much. They've rode him one time up to this point. We've seen this bull come up to the Challenger and the Classic events, and we never seen him hardly ever get rode. You know, and when I looked at this on books, I thought, oh no, this ain't good for Chris Shivers, but when can you ever count Chris Shivers out? He can ride anything, stick his head out of the gate, and he done it tonight.
Two wins, and Chris Shivers was already in title contention, but his season was about to take a turn in the wrong direction. Could win the go-round if he makes the whistle. It's into his hand. Look at the altitude. Reverses, gets underneath the bull.
Look at this bull leave out of the spin and just jams Chris down on his left shoulder.
He's in a lot of pain, and the world number 5, exactly what he didn't need. Here he is on Crown of Thorns. What a strong bull that sends him up and down, lands back on top of the bull's back.
That is a bucking bull.
He is a bad cat.
The fur flies, and so does Chris.
He's more mad than he is hurt right now.
Two-time PBR world champ Chris Shivers, a broken arm a month ago. Came back faster than most people thought. He's aboard Red Jacket. Here they come out. Red Jacket stumbles. Chris Shivers is banged against the side of the chutes, and now Chris Shivers limping out of there.
That was just a nightmare of a trip. You know, the bull falls down, then jumps up, runs, and crashes into the chute.
I'm worried about his leg getting crushed up against the pipe. That pipe doesn't move when you hit it.
Chris Shivers being helped off.
Oh, no.
Up next, Chris's run for an historic 3rd championship heats up in Grand Rapids before it all goes wrong in the Nevada desert. See the PBR at its best and worst when we return on Total Bull.
Bull riding is a little different sport than any other sport. You know, it's a sport where you have to ride to win. You know, they don't give you money to show up and don't pay you just to be there. You know, you gotta earn your money, and I think that's why a lot of fans respect our sport. You know, they can relate to something that we're doing. You know, I think a lot of us bull riders come from working backgrounds, and we know where we've been, and we know where we are now. So.
We welcome you back to Total Bull's look back at the 2005 PBR season. By September, Chris Shivers had suddenly become a threat to Justin McBride. Could he become the PBR's first 3-time champion? His run at the title continues in Grand Rapids.
The thing about this bull is I don't think he's got enough bull to win this go-round. He'll ride him easy, be in the mid-80s. No problem for Chris Shivers. This is just a warmer-upper.
This was over the minute the chute gate opened. I don't even have to count to 8. I mean, you knew. Look at him spur with that right boot. I mean, Shivers into his hand in a steady one-direction spin will buck off 0 times out of 100. Shivers trying to ride 3. Wild Thing is the bull. Back around to the left. How did he get back on top of that bull?
Is he not? He's amazing. He is amazing.
That's the effort of the year right there. That's the second effort of the year. I mean, that is a bull that should have opened his hand, but he just kept his hand shut. He would not be denied. He wasn't going to let go of this bull. I'll tell you something else, guys. The last 2 events, Chris Shivers came back number 1 on 2. Big Bucks bucked him off. He wasn't going to be denied a championship shot here.
He needs 90 to take the lead, and we just got word, 90.5. Shivers takes the lead by a point in one of the great recoveries that we've seen this year. Let's take another look at the ride that won it for him. Short go, Wild Thing, 90.5. Perfect.
This Louisiana Cowboy is hotter than a Louisiana Cajun spice rack. Look at this direction change. This bull's throwing everything at him. It don't matter. He is going to get her done.
Having missed the finals last year, how did that experience change you? Did it make you humble, or did it make you hungrier?
You know, I think that experience made me hungry. You know, that's something that every guy doesn't want to happen to him throughout the year, you know, but unfortunately I had injuries that held me back, and then I couldn't recover from what had happened in the past to make the finals. And just something that happened, but I think it was better for me in the long run to miss the finals and really know exactly how much I want to do this, you know.
You've been hovering around the top 10 for most of the year. You missed some time with injury. After the win last week in Grand Rapids, you're up to number 4. I heard you say that being like this, kind of in the middle of the pack, versus 2003 when everybody was chasing you, you kind of like it this way. You like being the hunter versus the hunted?
Well, I kind of like being the guy in the number 1 position, but you know, being in 4th, it's a lot less pressure on the number 4 guy than it is on the number 1 guy. You know, you don't have all the media. Seems like I've been having to follow Justin around just to get a little sponsor TV. So, but it's pretty amazing. You know, I don't think people realize the pressure that us country boys get put on us. You know, it's an amazing deal.
Because you look like a cool cucumber, but inside it's all churning when there's that $1 million on the line. I know you guys never admit to pressure.
You know, you're never gonna admit to pressure, but you know, it's a terrible feeling on the inside. You know, I don't think it gets any better. I don't care who you are or how cool you are. You know, you want to win $1 million and you want to win first place, and there's lots of things going on inside your head and inside your gut. You know, it's a terrible feeling sometimes.
Let me put you on the spot and ask you the very same question that I asked Justin McBride last week, and I'll tell you his answer if you want it. Are you the best bull rider in the world?
It's a hard answer. In my mind, I think I am. I've got the numbers and I've got the stats, but you know that goes back to week in and week out. You know, you can be the best in the world one week and you can be the sorriest in the world the next week. So it's just, I don't know, it just varies. But I think to be the best in the world, you have to believe, and if you don't believe, then second place will suit you just fine.
That win in Grand Rapids vaulted Chris into 4th in the overall standings, and he was riding as well as at any point in his career. Many thought there was no doubt who would win the title in 2005, and it wasn't going to be Justin McBride. But that would all change in Laughlin, Nevada.
This guy wholeheartedly wants a 3rd world title.
It's alien, it's to the left, that's into his hand, and Shivers is in the groove, folks.
The groove, definitely. But you hit the nail on the head, I believe, here. This guy is hungry, he's determined, and he's not making mistakes. He's just riding bulls at that championship style that he has. He's clearly on a level on his own.
You know, this is the bull that dumped Travis Briscoe on his head last night, so he's got some pain to him. Shivers into his hand, waving the free arm. Start going around to the left, and Shivers is ridden 3.
And Shivers is moving to number 3 in the world. What happened?
Oh, boy, he clipped him as he was coming down, I believe.
And that's really unfortunate. This is a bull that I don't think he's got a mean bone in his body.
Well, you saw
you know?
Rob grab a hold of him there, and he just walks away from him. Luckily, he didn't step on him on the way out.
Well, you just never know, guys. You just never know.
We talk about, Justin, until that bull is out of the arena, nobody is safe. It's just, you know, you're talking about a large animal and a lot of power, and it's
yeah, you know, it looked like it's actually his hock, you know, right where the bend of that back knee is. And the thing about it is, you know, it just kind of depends. There's some muscle just a little above the hock, and hopefully, you know, that would provide a little cushion. But boy, that just, there's no doubt about it. That's ugly.
Needless to say, we think our best thoughts for Chris Shivers, and Dr. Tandy Freeman will follow the ambulance shortly to the hospital to care for Chris Shivers as long as is necessary. And I say the following, knowing that it is completely incidental to the health of Chris Shivers. Chris Shivers is now leading the event here in Laughlin. He made the whistle on that bull, scored 87.5 points, and has taken the lead away from L.J. Jenkins.
I don't remember a whole lot about what went on in Laughlin. I knew I rode good until I rode good all weekend and just got off in the wrong place, and a little freak deal. The bull turned back the other way and kind of stuck a foot on top of my head and knocked me out for quite some time. And I woke up in the hospital and didn't know exactly what had happened, but I won a little money, so I was happy.
Could Chris come back from that horrific wreck in time for the finals? How would he ride even if he did? We'll find out after the break.
What it's like to ride at the PBR finals. I mean, that's the one that you ride for all year. You know, that's what determines the world championship. And there's not one of the 45 guys that don't want to win a world championship. And that's the place to do it at. And that's the place they give all the good money away.
Well, just 1 month removed from that horrific wreck in Laughlin, Chris Shivers had returned to competition. The finals beckoning, and not even a concussion would stop him from competing. And this is the man a lot of people believe will be the first three-time world champion when this week is over. Chris Shivers, our gold buckle winner in 2000 and 2003, missed all the time this year with the broken free arm and, of course, the concussion in Laughlin. But he's back now, says he's healthy. Guys, do you believe it?
I do. Well, I mean, you know, to come in here coming off of an injury, I think he's coming off the best one. You know, he doesn't have a broke leg or broke ribs or ligaments that are messed up or knee joints that are weak. You know, he's had the chance to rest. He's had the chance to come back from a concussion. I think Chris is going to be tough.
Blizzard is the bull to the right, away from his hand, stretched back on his rope, and down he goes. The drama builds. Chris rides with the left hand. Reindeer dipping out 18 times, ridden just twice. Rob Smets mentioned the 93 by L.J. Jenkins in Laughlin just 3 weeks ago. They've got the blue rope around the neck of that bull tie. That's just to steady him in the chutes?
Well, they just got that blue rope running over the top of his neck, and that's because sometimes he wants to try to jump over the front of the chute. That rope's going to keep him down in there. Now Reindeer's giving Chris a shot.
He's leaned up away from his leg. Jinxie on the gate. Chris moves up, nods his head. What a matchup. Gets him stretched back on his rope, but Chris recovers. And then the bull throws him off to the left-hand side. What a matchup. He starts the night 3,300 points behind McBride. He must ride this bull to the left. Ooh, and then straightens out, and Chris Shivers has bucked off 3 in a row at the final. This is another one you never would have predicted. Perhaps Chris needed more time to recover from his injuries, but he would now have a few days to rest up and 4 more long rounds to get back on top. It'll be Chris Shivers next, and he's had a disappointing finals. 0 for 3 so far, including the buck off on Reindeer Dippin' Saturday night.
This is the bull that is so quick, bucking off Ross Coleman a few days ago.
Wow, he slams on the brakes and turns to the left, but Shivers has it. That's into his hand. The two-time champ is back.
These guys remind me so much of each other, not just because of size, but neither one of them know they're little guys. I mean, this little bull's half the size as the big bulls, and he kicks their butt in the back pins all the time.
Stutter steps right and left.
You know, Chris, this week he just looks so hesitant. He looks like he's waiting for the bull to make his move, and that's not the, you know, that's not the Chris Shivers that we're used to.
It feels like Saturday night here, you know that?
Yeah, it is.
I know. That's why it feels like Saturday night. I mean, it is just, it is getting tense.
Shivers. Huge leap out of the chute. It's to the right, away from his hand. Ready for the reverse, but that bull kicks him forward and flips him off the left side.
Well, another one gets away from Chris Shivers right there. What a They came in here with that shot at the world title. Now all they can hope for is just to win the $20,000 go-around here. Needs something over 91 if he wants to take the lead.
Two big kicks. Now a spin to the right. That's away from Shivers' hand. Bull stops, hesitates, and then continues around to the right. And that slight hesitation was enough to shake the champ loose.
We were going to the 90s perhaps with that score if he'd have been there a little longer, but those are just ifs. The facts are this: Chris Shivers bucks off, and he's not happy about it, even though he is gracious to the fans. This guy's a class act and a credit to the game.
The thing we need to look for is next year, Chris Shivers, after having a finals like this, you think his motor isn't going to be running? Oh. He's going to go back to the drawing board and come back with a vengeance. He does it every time he's not successful.
And so while Chris Shivers did not win that third world title in 2005, he did ride spectacularly at times, winning 3 events, and he added a newfound maturity to go along with his unmatched natural ability. You know, my colleague Ty Murray often says that no one has ever looked as good on the back of a bull as Chris Shivers. And if he can channel that ability in 2006 and find a way to stay healthy, there's little doubt that that third world title is in the offing. For all of us at OLN, thanks for watching Total Bull. I'm Brett Haber.
Go!